Hey guys, Franchise here from Franchise80s.com. Welcome to another one of my videos. Today I just wanted to show you guys some of my collection. We'll start right here from my my man cave, my front room where I usually spend most of my time. If you can call it a man cave, it's kind of like a geek cave. But it's filled with things that I love, that I'm passionate about. Some of my friends and family were kind of making fun of me because I have 3 TVs. I was like, why do you need 3 TVs? But you know, when it comes to pay-per-views, and when I have when I host like pay-per-views and events and games and stuff at my house, it's pretty cool because we watch a few things, different things at the same time. Sometimes I'll watch a UFC event and there's a Laker game. I'm a big LeBron James fan, so I gotta watch him play. So I'll have LeBron on one of my TVs and the UFC on another. And I have a Raspberry Pi, so sometimes I'll connect my Raspberry Pi to the third TV, and so someone can play it or I can play it, you know. So right now what you're kind of been looking at, what you're looking at is, like I said, my front room. I have, as much as I can, I have try to cover every inch of every wall in this room with some of the things that I love and I'm passionate about, like some of the toys, a lot of old retro toys from my childhood, from the 80s and the 90s, and even some new stuff that I still collect today. There's a lot of new great toys, a lot of reissues, a lot of toys that are that they're re-releasing and stuff. Some of them have original packaging, like these Masters of the Universe. I love these figures. These are made by a company called Super 7. Funko has the license now, and they're doing a lot of the reissues for the He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and Funko just has a huge license, so many different licenses to do all sorts of stuff. You see my Funko Pops there. You see that I have everyone from He-Man to Ultimate Warrior, Goldberg, LeBron James, every character from the 80s and 90s from Care Bears. There's Bill and Ted and Willy Wonka and even Popeye, the Jetsons. There's just so many different characters that Funko can produce. If you've never heard about Funko, I would recommend that you watch a documentary called Making Fun. It's the story of Funko and how it grew to be one of the largest toy companies in the world. It's a pretty incredible story and a really good documentary to watch. I love watching documentaries, especially about toys and video games and other things that I'm into. I'm kind of a historian. When it comes to pop culture and to most things. I love history. You know, I find that I'm more interested in it now than I ever was when I was in high school. When I was in school trying to learn about history, I didn't pay much attention to it. Now that I'm not in school anymore and I'm an adult, I find it very interesting. Not just, the history of different things like pop culture and stuff, but like real history, American history. And there's some incredible items that I've come across going to estate sales that are very historic, and it helps you in this line of business. I'm a reseller. I buy and I sell. I go to estate sales, I go to garage sales, and I'm not just a collector. And knowing your history and knowing what to look for helps a lot. Another resource I use too is books. I have a lot of reference books and guides and stuff to all sorts of different items, from toys to sports memorabilia, and I'll be showing you there'll be a video of that a little bit later in this video. So what you're looking at right here is my LeBron James card collection. Most of these cards are extremely rare and hard to find. A lot of them are autographed with a piece of game worn patch. That one you're looking at right there with the circular patch, that is a number to only 50. It's number 23 of 50, so it's pretty much a one of a kind. These are very expensive cards. They're high-end collectibles. A lot of people who are into sports cards now, they are into these type of cards. They'll spend a lot of money to get cards. I think the value is pretty good. There you see my wrestling wall that has a lot of autographed memorabilia from Ultimate Warrior, who I did business with back in the early 90s, or late 90s, I should say, when he went to WCW. I got to talk to him over the phone. He sent me some comic books autographed, and he wrote me that letter of authenticity. Those are a lot of the Warrior figures from the first one that they've made all the way to the current ones. I have almost every single Ultimate Warrior figure that they've ever made. He's my favorite wrestler by far. My second favorite wrestler is right there to the right, as you'll see in a minute, is Goldberg. But Ultimate Warrior was, I grew up watching the Ultimate Warrior, and his match against Hulk Hogan was my absolute favorite match ever, WrestleMania 6, the Ultimate Challenge. First person ever to defeat Hulk Hogan. Was a great moment for me when I was a child. And here you have Goldberg. Also a pair of Goldberg's trunks, autographed, with an inscription that says, that shows his undefeated record of 174-0. And then his championship belt. It's also in that beautiful display. And then some more autographed memorabilia, and I also have every single figure they've ever made of Bill Goldberg. He's my second favorite wrestler of all time. The Ultimate Warrior, Goldberg, and LeBron James are my favorite athletes of all time, and you can tell that by this video. I'm sure it's no surprise. Here you have more of my front room. That's how I had it before. I used to see that some of the walls are still up there. This is the video that I was talking to you about earlier. Is my Raspberry Pi, so I was going to go more in depth, show you some of the menus and stuff. So, um, uh, just take a look at some of these. So it's incredible. So many games packed into this thing. I think anybody who loves gaming should own a Raspberry Pi. This is just such an incredible machine. I mean, look at all those. You have Nintendo, you have this system, you have the Wii, even the Wii, Game Boy, and every game ever that ever came out for each one of these systems. So when you look at the menus to see the Wii or the WiiWare or the GameCube, it has every game for them. Nintendo 64 as well, Nintendo, Atari, um, whatever system you can think of, except for the more modern systems. Um, whatever system you can think of, it has that system and every game for that system. So literally, it's tens of thousands of games on this little machine, which you can purchase for just under $200 on the internet. It is a great price for a complete, you know, ultimate retro gaming experience. There's the Atari 2600, such a classic machine. You'll also have every arcade game, coin operated arcade games, the ones you used to put quarters in. You spend so much money putting quarters in when you go to pizza places or restaurants that had arcade machines. It has every single arcade machine from A to Z. And obviously, you can't put quarters into it. All you do to get credits is you hit the select button or whatever button that that they have on the Raspberry Pi controller that you can set up to give you credits, and then you play the game. Incredible. Even though there's tens of thousands of games, I rotate around my favorite 10 games, and I usually play those. But just an incredible machine. And I think that if you've never seen it before, you're probably sitting here watching this, and the next thing you're going to do is probably jump on Google and try to find one, because that's what I did. As soon as the first time I saw Raspberry Pi was on somebody's YouTube video, and I was like, oh my God, I have got to get one of these. So I jumped on Google and I searched for it, and I found it on eBay. And I purchased one, overpaid for one the first time. And then I've kind of figured out, well, wait a minute, I think I can make these myself. And so I got a couple more, and I kind of built them myself. They're incredible machines. It runs off a Raspberry Pi motherboard, and you just download a emulating software, which is there's a few different ones, and then you can download all these incredible games for it. But it's just an incredible machine, and I'm going to go ahead and shut up for a little bit now so you can see all the wonderful games that are on this machine. Wow, hope you guys enjoy some of the footage that I'm showing you here, because, yeah, like I told you, the Raspberry Pi, you gotta get one. If you don't have one, must have if you love the retro gaming for sure. They even have a whole section for Star Wars games. They have the different, they have themes too on it, like all the Pac-Man games under one menu, all the Star Wars games under one menu. Sorry about the shaky video, but I was using my GoPro. But yeah, every possible game that you could think of, or even ones that you didn't even know existed, they have prototype games that were never released on a lot of different systems. It's pretty cool. So a lot of Japanese games too. There's some games that I don't even know how to play. Man, I played Super Nintendo for hours. That system was incredible. That was one of my favorite systems, Super Nintendo, and then the original NES Nintendo is probably my favorite. This is my Yoda. I purchased this Yoda for half price. I was like, normally it was $100. I think I got it for $50 at Toys R Us years ago, and the thing is incredible. I mean, it teaches you how to have lightsaber battles. It talks, it moves. It's a very well made toy. And man, if they had this when I was a kid, I would have gone nuts for it. But just it's a pretty cool little toy. Next is my slot machine. This is a real slot machine from a Bally's Hotel and Casino, and works, takes quarters, and pretty amazing. It's awesome. This is some more of my pop collection, and these little tiny arcades. I found these at Walmart. They're incredible. They're little tiny arcade machines. They look like the real arcade machines that you would go play back in the 80s and 90s. And they work. They're fully functioning. I mean, if you can actually see what you're doing, it's little micro screens, but they're pretty cool to have displayed. I think they're awesome. I have Galaga, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Space Invaders, and this here, this is my overflow, my garage, my storage room. This is where I keep most of the things I sell online and at some of my toy shows or collectible shows or yard sales or anything, any way that I choose to sell my items, whether it be online or in person. This is most of or some of my inventory that I have. A lot of these toys are newer toys that you see here, but I do behind them have a lot of vintage toys and collectibles and some of the antiques too. I told you that I'm a kind of history buff. I love history, and so I do have some pretty historic items. I'm gonna probably have to do a video on those sometimes too, but this video is primarily to show you my pop culture collectible toy collection and things of that nature. These are all Disney Infinity. I got a really good deal on these Disney Infinities, and I have some of them for sale on my eBay page, eBay website, which is franchise80s.com, and then I have a higher end eBay page where I sell higher end items called Franchise80s.com. And what you see here is I have a display case behind all this inventory, so I kind of have a little shop set up in my garage where it's kind of my office as well, my secondary office where I do some of my YouTube videos. And so I have all sorts of great items in here, and have quite a vast collection of toys and other collectibles. You can see a lot of that stuff was purchased at Toys R Us when Toys R Us was going out of business. I still can't believe that they're gone. I love Toys R Us. I wish they would have never gone out of business, and I really hope that they come back one day. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you next time. Thank you.